All right, folks, here we go. I want to make sure and click in. Guys, guess what? We're here live. I want to be quick about this, but I do want to say, guess what? We are doing a very special video. Today, we are talking about a new series. I'm going to get into why I'm doing this later, but yes, that's right. We are doing the best Warframes in 2024. I'm going to go live on TikTok. As always, you be sure to follow me on TikTok. If you're coming from TikTok, be sure to follow me on YouTube, but they can't hear me because now I'm live. Okay, here we go. Oh. Uh-oh. Is not available. Oh my god. Hard encoder. Okay, folks. Anyway, before I get distracted, today we are talking about the best Warframe in 2024. I'm going to have to kind of do two things at once. So here we go. Today we are talking about... I want to kind of do it in a different way because I think a lot of how I play this game is more about things like, you know, what you're really talking about is you're actually talking about the specific abilities and kits that each Warframe has and how those kits are going to work better for you. And it ends up being a little complicated. Like, as you can see, this is only a chunk of the list. This isn't even the whole list. Ooh, look at this. Okay. So what I'm really trying to do, and what I'm really trying to do while I'm also trying to figure out TikTok, is that I want to show you guys what's going on. Like, for me, it's more about like, oh, you're going into a spy mission. Easy. Ivara. Ivara is the best Warframe for spy missions. Okay. You get what I'm going for? Like, you're going into a mobile defense. I mean, a mobile defense, you can pretty much do anything. Let's try just going into this. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the basic stuff is like, what you're really talking about is, here we go, folks. Let's be real. I am 2 minutes into the video, and what I want to say is, for me, the best Warframe is any tank Warframe. Okay, let's be real here. Before I do anything else, before I waffle on and on and on, there are so many tank Warframes in this game. It's dumb. It's insane. And really, what I qualify as a tank Warframe, the only thing that a tank Warframe needs to have is like close to or around or maybe above 1,000 armor. So if you can get to 1,000 armor in some way, shape, or form, you can take a look at the tank section right there. Hydroid is on the list. You're like, what? Hydroid a tank? You're like, yeah, I mean, his third ability with like 130% strength, you can get to 1,000 armor. So suddenly he becomes a tank. He gets, I think it's 80% damage resistance when you have that full tank setup. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's try going live, TikTok. Did it stick? Oh, hard encoder not available. Okay. That is, oh god, that is bad. So guess what, folks? The hard encoder is not working on TikTok, so I might not be able to go live on TikTok. This is criminal. I won't be able to test it. Codec compatibility. Let's try this. Let's see if this works. Okay. Anyway, folks, I'm sorry on YouTube, but this is a little cringe. So let's just try it and do it. Okay, here we go. One more time. So yes, we're just going to try and talk about this as straightforward as possible. Like, the basic gist of it is like, any tank Warframe is going to make your life so much easier. So you might as well just try it. Okay, we're going to get one more test going. Nope. Okay, guess what? We're not going live on TikTok. Anyway, before I get distracted, this is a YouTube only video now. Okay, here we go. So I've got a lot of categories. We are 4 minutes in, and I've talked about none of them. Okay, so what are we talking about? The basic gist is, you're seeing it right now. I'm kind of breaking it down based on things that make a Warframe unique from other Warframes. So shields is at the top of the list because it's the biggest kind of gimme. Like Mag, Protea, Hildren. Like Protea has her shield grenades. Ooh, we got a TikTok popping up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. TikTok doesn't work. I'm gonna close it. So you got the Mag shield grenades. Oh, did not mean to do that. Here we go. Let's do this again. The Mag shield grenades are going to give you just way too much shields. Like, your overshields is it's just free shields. It's way too easy. It's so simple. Like, it's really not a big deal. Like, it's not super difficult. I mean, like, all you're doing is just tossing it down every once in a while. And then the big thing with Protea is that she actually has a lot of really fun gameplay loops. Like, she's like, oh my god, like, every fourth ability you get 100% ability power. So that's rule number one. So you're going to put on Roar. She's going to be a buff frame too. Obviously, she's going to drop down her dispensary. Is that what it's called? Dispensary? I don't know if that's what it's called. Anyway, it's free energy, free health. You're essentially going to have max energy at all times. Like, it's way too crazy. And then you just throw on Roar and you're getting like 100% free damage for your whole squad. So not to mention you're going to be rocking that Blaze Artillery. Wait, no, it can't be. Is it really Blaze Artillery and Dispensary? Did no one ever say, has no one said anything about this? Are you guys getting where I'm going? I hope I don't have to elaborate further, but what is going on here? Is that really what it's called? I don't know if that's what it's called, but anyway, before I get distracted, Mag is an interesting choice because her pull is now OP, but only for her, because you get that 70-meter range at 250% range, so it's brutal. So insane pull mechanic. Like, you scale, once you scale for range, then her fourth ability gives max shields whenever you're in a stressful situation. And now with primed redirection, like, oh my god, primed redirection is like, oh, chef's kiss. Oh, it's so good. Like, oh, it's way too good. Oh, and of course, if I'm gonna do shields, I can't not put Hildryn on the list. I mean, I've just put Breach Surge on her. That's it. So you do Breach Surge and then you do Blazing Pillage, and it's just it's a classic combo. It's an instant classic. Like, what's not to love? But I want to try and move a little bit faster. I'm not going to do these in order because some of these are a little bit different. You know, like DPS is a classic. Like invisibility, there's only 4 really: Octavia, Ashe, Ivara, Loki. Those are the ones that you can control your invisibility a lot easier. So Ashe and Octavia are going to be more of like your true you know, kind of tactical or like offensive invisibility. Like Ashe with his augment for his 2, you're going to get free crit chance, insane amounts of crit chance. Octavia is going to drop down that bubble or that area of effect, and if you have decent range, then it's going to be a pretty big area. It's like it's an arena, so you can just chill in an arena when you're doing a survival and just, you know, vibe out and have fun for a while. Ivara, of course, queen of spy missions, of course, and Loki. Loki was kind of like the OG, but I just. He's cool. Like, you can make him silent. You can make all your weapons silent. You're totally invisible. It's really nice, but, you know, just like, it's whatever. It's whatever. So, yeah, tank is a fun one. I wanted to put some weird tanks on here. So, Hydroid is, like, insane after the patch. Like, he's so easy. Like, he's a tank. He's an active CC. He's a DPS. Like, all of his abilities just synergize so well, to the point where like you're just pressing all your abilities and then everything's that dying. Like, you just, as long as you're casting and you have enough energy, like, he's an instant classic. That's why I put him on the list, because he's the weirdest tank ever now. Like, he's the strangest frame. Like, you're still rocking Arcane Grace and Arcane Avenger, but it's just an instant classic. There was one thing that I wanted to pull up. I don't know where this thing is going to pull up, but I'm going to pull it over here. I want to make sure that the captures is working properly. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the game is recording right now. Okay, that's what I want. Yeah, it's been buggy lately. I don't like it. Anyway, now that we're actually cruising, I mean, Chroma is fun. Chroma's really fun. He's hard because you actually have to keep up his abilities. They're just duration-based abilities, but they kind of suck, you know. You kind of just got to keep them active. Like, it's kind of annoying, but, you know, I always forget about the Chroma abilities, and then that's how you die. That's just an easy way to die, folks. So I do struggle with that. And then, of course, Lavos, you know, one of the newer frames. I always try and shout out a few newer frames in this list, but not too many, because in the end, like, you're not going to put a lot of Archon shards. You're not going to put an Umbra Forma into a new frame, because, you know, you don't want to waste it on a frame that's going to be replaced by a prime. Like, that's just the truth. So I'm going to try and put more primes on this list. What was that notification? I don't know if that was anything. Anyway, what else am I talking about? I mean, yeah, you can talk about like buff and support frames. Like, I feel like Wisp will always be the best. Like fire rate, free health, and then of course you can put on Roar if you just stack power strength, and you can get like 100% free damage for the whole squad. Like that's the whole point. Is like the idea of a buff frame is more of like, with Roar you can buff your whole squad really easily, especially for like a defense target or like any kind of interception. Like as soon as everyone crowds around an area, you just hit them with a Roar, and then they all have Roar, and then they can run around and do whatever the fuck they want. So it's like you link up for 1 second, and then suddenly your Wisp has given you 120% damage, and you're like, oh my god, this Archon hunt just turned into fucking easy mode. So that's kind of the whole goal of a buff / support frame. I think Oberon is pretty similar. He's not getting as much strength, but he is kind of getting up there. But the big thing is, like, I don't know how his heal works. It's a little confusing, but I think you can pretty much heal people and give them free armor forever. So it's pretty OP. I kind of use his carpets, so he acts a little bit like DPS, but you kind of have to spam a bunch of carpets and then press his 4. So it's a lot of energy investment, but, you know, you are rocking Arcane Energize and Rage, so you're getting a fuck ton of energy. So it's like way too easy. Like, and then of course, like Grendel's a classic. Like as soon as he came out, I was like, oh my god, you did it. And then when I realized that Nourish still gives you free energy, like Nourish is infinite energy. Like the thing that, oh, this is what I almost forgot to mention, is like what we're talking about with the introduction of Netracells is like we're talking about oh my god, like we're talking about infinite energy suddenly becoming insanely useful in this game. Like Grendel, Harrow, Hildren, Lavos. Hildren and Lavos are a little bit weird. Those are kind of unique. I would say like Inaros or Nidus would probably be an interesting choice, just because I'm curious to see if Rage can like out energy. You know what I mean? Like if, you know, because what it's going to do is it's going to take an insane amount of energy away from you as long as there are enemies nearby. So you kind of have to get shot or get hit from far away, build up enough energy to be able to cast Nidus's 2 or Inaros with Coil Horizon, and then from there you're good. But I guess in the end, like the thing with those, you know, they're tank frames, so they still have Arcane Avenger, so they're still just DPSing everything. But yeah, those are kind of like, you know, Grendel is just a monster. You know, Grendel has, you know, infinite energy. You're getting free viral damage. You're getting Roar, of course, because I love Roar when I'm using buff frames. And then, of course, for yourself, you're rocking Prime or Arcane Avenger. So, you know, because he's a classic tank, you know, as long as you have enemies in your belly, you're going to have over 1,000 armor built in. So, you know, it's kind of a thing you have to manage, but you do have like pretty much infinite energy, so you can always have enemies in your belly. So it's not super crazy, but, you know, he's a classic. Yeah, I mean, like, we could talk about the DPS. I think everyone should know that, like, Saryn will always be kind of a monster. Like, even without these new green Archon shards or whatever, which I would assume would just be fucking game breaking, like, Saryn is a classic. You don't really need to do anything crazy. She is a tank, of course, as per usual. She does have Roar. She has Toxic Lash, so you're getting toxin damage. You know, you're getting, you know, whatever damage over time effect you have from your weapon. You're getting viral, and you're getting corrosive from your abilities, and then you're also getting viral from your weapon usually. So it's a lot of damage all at once. But, you know, she's old school classic, just so good. Like, always a staple, always easy to build. Like, the triple Umbra setup on Saryn is like savage. Like, it's woo, oh my god. And like a lot of that setup, a lot of these frames are like, if you can invest that Umbra Forma, like, oh my god, like, you get Arcane Avenger and then it's just game over from there. Like, it's so good. I kind of want to talk a little bit about Xaku. Xaku, I think, will be coming up soon as a Prime. I'm not sure. Pretty soon. And, of course, I'll just be using the deluxe skin. So they'll have to kind of wow me with the Prime accessory if I want to spend that extra money. But, you know, I still just bought Gauss Prime, of course. But, you know, you get it for a little bit cheaper because I was like, whatever. Armor set and Syandana, whatever. I'm going to use the deluxe armor set anyway. So it's pretty chill. I don't know if I got a deluxe armor set, but I think I just got the signed on it. Anyway, here we go. One last thing. Xaku. So when you talk about Xaku, really the thing is you're going to need max range, and then you're also going to need to try and stack as much power strength as you can. Like, you're not going to be able to stack a huge amount, but you do need it. Like, you really do need it. So I would say it's not like super crazy. Like, it's not difficult. He's a pretty, I guess they're a pretty basic setup, but get a bunch of guns, put some kind of armor strip that you can spam. Like, Terrify is pretty good. I used Pillage because it's like I get free shields, and also it's like pretty easy to spam for 50 energy. And it's not like I have a high duration anyway, because I just have infinite duration from, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, moving on. It's just, they're fun to run around. Run around, have a decent weapon, have a decent melee so that you can keep your pet alive, because they're not going to get shields from Pillage. I realized that they made a change that Pillage no longer gives shields to your pet, so it's going to be really annoying, so keep that in mind. But of course, the last one that I want to talk about, a new candidate and a really fun candidate. Dagath is, oh my god, just like Dagath is just doing work. Like, the Doom mechanic is so fun. It's so classic. It's exactly what I want to see. You're incentivized to go crazy. You're incentivized to spam all your abilities, and you don't actually need that much energy. Like, I think with Dagath, I did end up using Grace and Guardian, and I only had a yellow Archon shard in the bottom slot, and I think it's pretty basic from there. I don't know if I lost my Archon shard when I sold Gauss. I don't know if that happened, but I should keep that in mind in the future. When I'm pretty sure I lost an Archon shard from Gauss. Anyway, before I get distracted, let's do this. We've kind of talked about most of these guys. Exalted ones are fun. Baruuk is the classic. Baruuk is insane. You're going to want to use the augment on his 4. You're going to want to put fire. That's usually my choice as a single element on the melee. You're going to kind of spam your slide attack because it does insane damage. And then you're probably going to end up using the right click, like the blocking standing combo, because it's going to pull enemies towards you. And it's probably going to be more classic. So he's got a lot of fun abilities. You want to stack power strength. Of course, you're getting a really high number. So using something like Empower is kind of criminal. I think that's what I used on him. So he's fun. He's an absolute classic. I'm glad Baruuk Prime is out, because I do actually like the deluxe skin. I think it looks pretty sick. So anyway, let's keep it moving. I want to say Sevagoth is a very interesting choice as an exalted weapon, because Sevagoth is more like an exalted frame. Like, you get a bonus frame on top of the frame. It's a double frame. Like, let's be real here, folks. And of course, because of that, it's got a really fun kind of Baruuk-esque exalted mechanic where you have a little timer. Go crazy, suck enemies in with your 1, slash at them. Now with I'm pretty sure Dreamer's Wrath, like using Tennokai, works with like Sevagoth's Shadow. I'm pretty sure. And so Sevagoth's Shadow is actually just a Warframe that you just use melee only. And so his forward blocking combo is this spin attack that lunges you forward. So it's really easy to like either suck enemies in or lunge towards them and then be able to spam your heavy attack with free everything. So it's really, really fun. I want to test that out. Of course, Mesa is the classic. What you're talking about with Mesa is like probably the best. Like, Mesa like tops out in so many ways, and I think that's a lot of that is due to the fact that, like, I don't know if they have very high stat or like crit chance, but I ended up, I think, putting a bunch of like slash damage and fire damage and viral on the peacemakers, and then you're just kind of going wild, and you're rocking the gun damage buff and the roar buff. Of course, you're getting the double buff going, and of course that's going to your team as well. So Mesa's a real classic, like super kind of old school at this point. It's crazy to say, but yeah, Mesa is pretty old school. Even Mesa Prime is old school at this point. But as you can tell, I'm kind of avoiding a couple different ones. We've talked about most of these. I want to talk about Weapon Kings a little bit. You're going to see Gauss pop up on the list. If you keen viewers will see that Gauss is behind me. Of course, Gauss Prime just came out. That Prime trailer, there's hype on TikTok, dude. There's hype on TikTok. I don't know if I will capitalize on it. I have game reviews to do, but there is hype on TikTok for that trailer. It's good to see. So it really sucks that the encoder did not work. So we'll have to figure that out some other time. So Gauss, I want to talk about him right now. He's a classic, but he's a classic in a weird way because of course his only buff is that you're using energized rounds for free ammo efficiency, but you're getting energized rounds, and you're also getting oh god, what am I trying to say? You're getting the fire rate buff, attack speed buff, and reload speed buff. So all your guns are faster, all your weapons are faster, and then of course you're getting energized munition. So I kind of end up using a bunch of battery operated weapons and just kind of going crazy with infinite ammo. Like it's fun to use like a beam weapon, a battery operated beam weapon, or like I feel like the shotgun, like using the infested shotgun is really fun. So he's really a frame where you're going to pick and choose the weapons that you're going to use, because the thing is, even with energized munitions, like you're going to dump ammo. So you need to think about, like, you want something that's going to benefit from fire rate. So that's already going to limit you. So using something like Accelitra is a pretty good choice, but you know, it's an okay choice at times. But you know, it's, you don't want something that uses ammo. You want to just have infinite ammo, because the reload speed is going to help a little bit, but you're just going to be spamming like crazy. It's going to be way too easy. Mirage, you got to mention Mirage. Instant classic. You know, free multi-shot. You're getting triple, you know, clones of yourself. Obviously, damage is reduced, but you know what I did? You know what I did already. I got rid of the ability, the one that I should be using, and I replaced it with Roar, so that I could do the same thing to my teammates. And then you kind of stack a little bit of strength, but you end up using, I mean, it's just Hall of Mirrors running around. Maybe you press 2 every once in a while, but, you know, it's really, Mirage is one where you're incentivized to use a really, really fucked up weapon, like using Kuva Tonkor, or using Kuva Zar, or using Tenet Envoy, or any of these like super, super OP weapons. Like it's gonna be a monster. It's just gonna be way too good. And of course, the classic, you got to talk about Nova. Nova, either in the Slova form or the Speedva form, is insane. What you're really talking about is, like, in a stressful situation, you're going to go with Slova. You're going to slow enemies by about like 70% or something. I'm not really sure. But then what I've done is, because you have this max duration build, because the Nova's bubble actually scales with duration, the size of it. So it's kind of a weird setup, but what you're really talking about is you have 300% range, or duration, 300% duration. So the only choice that I really decided to make was to use Firewalker, which is Nejah's Helminth ability. And then that way you're getting free speed boost. You know, you're getting the fire damage tick, so your enemies are constantly being ticked with fire. So, you know, if you're using some kind of beam weapon as your secondary, then you're going to be getting free Cascadia Flare. You know, you're going to always have Cascadia Flare going. So Nova is incentivized to really run around with like some kind of chain beam as a secondary. You know, using the Gaze, using the Kuva Nucor, you know, the Tenet Cycron, like any of these. I would say even like the Vermisplicer kit gun, like as the secondary, is a great choice. Like they're all like, they're classics. Like you're getting that free fire damage. You know, you're running around with double damage on all enemies. If it's an easy game mode, you're rocking Speedva. You're giving them 30% speed boost, which isn't crazy, but it's, what I found is if you go true Speedva and you go as fast as they can, then they're way too fast, and then you end up killing yourself because it's too scary. But yeah, like a decent speed buff, making them move a little bit faster towards you. It'll speed up a survival. It'll speed up a defense mission. It'll make things a little bit easier if you're farming. Nova's a really fun choice for like a lot of different situations, whether it's high stress or low stress. Like a lot of the farming in this game is like very easy. Like even the highest level shit, it's like once you figure it out, it's like pretty brainless. Like, oh, I'll rock a Speedva on a long-term survival, and then when the thing shows up, when the acolyte shows up, then you're gonna kind of rock the whatever primary you're using and just kind of delete him. So it really incentivized to rock a super strong weapon. Okay, before we do the bonus, now we talk about the big ones, the big two. active CC and passive CC. Now, active CC, I think a lot of people might interpret that as like Breach Surge or something where it like stuns them. That's not what I'm talking about. For me, what I've found is that certain boring Warframes, or just certain Warframes in general, they'll end up with an active CC ability. Something like Coil Horizon would be a Helminth choice on like a lot of different Warframes. But you know, you've got classics. Of course, like Yareli and Nidus. So we'll talk about Yareli and Nidus first, and then we'll talk about Inaros, because Inaros is the black sheep of this list. So Yareli with her 4th ability, which uses a fuck ton of energy, but the thing is, it is just a suck ability. It's not like a Vauban where it pulls it consistently. It's about a 1.5 seconds of pulling, of vortexing, and then it just stops pulling and then just deals damage. So you're not going to end up building for duration. You're just going to end up building for max range, max efficiency. You're going to get as much energy as you can get going. You're going to be spamming that ability. I think I did end up using Breach Surge because it's going to maximize that shit. And Breach Surge is really cheap, so it'll be half the cost. So if you're ever in a stressful situation, pop a Breach Surge. You know, obviously when you're using an active CC, the reason you're using active CC is so that you can use, you know, probably a lower tier weapon. What I would consider on my, you know, my meta tier list and all that stuff is you're going to be using something more like the Tenet Ferox. You're going to be using the Opticore Vandal or the Nadaruk or the Cinta or like the Paris Incarnate, like all these different one-shot weapons that have such insane single target damage that if you can hit 10 people with that small bullet, then it's game over. It's way too easy, and you're going to be sucking way more than 10. You can probably suck at least 15 people instantly. Like, it's just way too easy. And of course, Nidus, instant classic. You're getting like 20 meters of pull instantly. The Nidus bubble is really good. It's really, really useful. He's obviously insanely strong. He's a tank. You're going to be getting Arcane Avenger that way, so you're also going to be getting like a really fun 3rd ability. I didn't change any of his kit. I love his kit. You get to them, you press 4, you use the augment on your 4, and it gives you a zillion stacks instantly. You press 4, you press 2, you make sure you're standing on the thing, and as long as there's like 10 enemies, you just hit 1 about 10 times, and then you'll have max stacks. So you just do that a couple times, game over. Too easy. And then you'll never die. You burn 15 stacks every time you would die, and then you just gain that back from 1 bubble. Like, you just cast 4 again, press 2, do it all over again. Way too easy. Super brainless. So much fun. He's a classic, and that way you can use something like the Ultranox, or, you know, one of these weird buggers, like any of these weird guys. Instant classic. But of course, Inaros. People are like, what the hell is this guy doing? Inaros on a best Warframe tier list. Instant L. But here's the thing. What you're really talking about is Inaros is boring, and Inaros doesn't have a lot going for him. All he has is that he never dies. He has Arcane Avenger, and therefore, but also because he's Inaros, he has Rage. That's what makes him a little bit better than like Atlas, for example, because Atlas, because he has a little bit of shields, it just fucks with it. It's really dumb. You don't get the Rage. You don't get the thing you need, because you're also using the CC ability, so it's like Atlas doesn't work as well. So that's why Inaros is on this list. He has his 4th ability, which gives him double the armor. Really nice, instant classic. That's probably the only other ability you use. I guess his 1 is also like a stun, so you have that. I don't know if it puts them in a finisher state and just makes all your melee damage be finisher damage. I'm not sure about that, but if you have Coil Horizon, you just slap it on there. You just get Gyre, get another Gyre, put Coil Horizon on there. Too easy. You come over here, but yeah, I mean, like, Inaros is boring. He's boring. He doesn't have a lot going for him, so you slap Coil Horizon on him, and now you can use weird weapons. And that's the maybe that's the only benefit of Inaros. Maybe it's not. Maybe whatever. He can get a rework, and then maybe I won't change anything. That's what happened with Hydroid. I didn't change anything about Hydroid's build. I just made him a triple Umbra tank, I think, or maybe I didn't. Maybe he just has a lot of base armor. But yeah, it's not super crazy. Like, it's not aggressive. Like, oh my god, whatever. If there's an Inaros rework, whatever. I don't care at this point. But here's the thing, folks. I should have put this one at the top. It is technically at the top. This is the one. I wanted to save it for the very end so that people know that I am a fucking dirty, rotten bastard. Because anybody who says that Vauban, Zephyr, and Titania, like Vauban or Zephyr is the best Warframe, is a fucking loser. I'm a loser. That's what I'm saying. Because Vauban and Zephyr are passive CC, which means they literally can just pull enemies into an area for whatever duration you've built for. So you go a lot of duration, you go max range. You're hitting 280 on the range on both of these guys. Zephyr is a little fun because you have to spam 2 to actually pull enemies in. So it's a little bit rough, but it's a classic. It's an instant classic. So you're kind of just going to be cruising. But yeah, they're both the same. With Vauban, it's very simple. Hold 4, get the suck ability going, and then just use the Tenet Ferox or use the Opticore Vandal. You get the idea. It's very basic. They are way too classic. These are actually the best Warframes in the game. Like, bar none. If I get Vauban or Zephyr in Deviri, I can go forever. I can go as long as I need to, especially Zephyr. Like, there's going to be a time when Zephyr is going to be my #1 used Warframe, just because of Deviri. If I ever get so bored that I go back to Deviri, then you'll know, folks. Because I will end up going back, but it won't really be the same because I'm going to be doing it for, oh, we got some driver updates. Maybe that's why. If we ever go back to Deviri, it'll be for Pathos Clamp. So we won't be doing actual, like, true Steel Path circuits. Like, Steel Path circuits was a great era. That was a classic era. Here we go. Anyway, before I get distracted, Titania. Titania is the oddball. Titania is the black sheep of this final best in slot tier list. Mini tier list, I guess you would call it. Titania, you press 3 on an enemy, and then suddenly all enemies are pacified and they just kind of wander towards that enemy. And it's not really the game-breaking ability that these two are, but it's still fun. It still works pretty well, and it's still something that I love. So shout out Titania. I believe I've put Roar on her. I believe she also just does, like, her actual buffs don't really scale with anything, so it's probably just whatever at this point. But yes, that's pretty much closing out the list. Of course, we've got a couple honorable mentions. Rhino and Revenant, and I guess Kullervo as well. You'll notice something in common with these two at least. Preventing all health damage. So on certain bosses that will nuke your entire health bar, you're going to want to use one of these two. Revenant is fun because he's also a DPS frame. He's got a couple fun abilities. You're going to rock Breach Surge, so you're going to get that decent stun. Like, Breach Surge is really more of a DPS ability than it is like an actual, like, CC. Like, it deals a lot of damage. Like, if you are using a DPS frame, like, I have it on Volt with his 4th ability. I have it on Ember with her 4th ability. I have it on Banshee with her sonar ability. I have it on who else did I? Yeah, Revenant with his 4th ability. Like, it's a really easy choice that, like, will exponentially magnify your damage, but it might also crash your computer. So be ready for that, folks. Anyway, Rhino, classic. Let's just say this: 200%. 200% roar buff. Hey, can you help me farm the resources for Revenant Prime? Yeah, what do you need to farm? Where can we farm it? Rhino Prime, 200%. 200% roar buff. Too easy. Way too classic. It's, like, seriously, like, so simple. Like, it's not something that you really need to worry about. Like, Rhino is just one of those frames where you're just kind of running around like a madman. Like, you get a 500,000 Iron Skin buff, and then you just kind of go wild. He's a classic. And of course, here's the thing, folks. What I really want to say is Kullervo is the best starter frame right now. The frame that you should be going for right off the bat is Deviri Kullervo. Go when it's a fear spiral or an anger spiral or a sorrow spiral. So those three we're gonna have a chance of a Kullervo spawn, and then you do enough of those, you get his whole set, and then you're gonna be cruising. He's insanely strong. He's crazy. He's a monster, dude. He's a classic. He's exactly what you want to see in a new Warframe. He's really, like, sets the bar high. I think he's really fun. But I want to do this real quick. So it's 7:34 right now. And we have a whole bunch of Warframes to talk about. So what I want to do is I want to go through the list in the actual order of which group I think is the best. So we're going to start the list with what I think is... Okay, so here we go. This is the actual tier list portion of the thing. So we've talked about all the different groups. I've talked about them out of order. Now what I want to do is talk about them in order. So what we've done now is explained what the groups are. We've shown you, okay, here we go. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about tanks. We're talking about, you know, CC frames, all this stuff. So you get a basic idea of how the frames work. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to rank. I need to get out of this fucking chat. What is Wolf saying? Rauta? Rauta sucks. It's just a fucking one-shot gun. It's like the Tigris, but it is just the Tigris, but it has 4 shots instead of 2. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is take those groupings and rank them in order. So now we're doing the actual tier list portion of the list. And we're going to go through and actually go through the builds. So what I think is the best type of Warframe to look for. So what we're talking about with a type of Warframe is things like tanks, Warframes that can hit 1,000 armor, active CC frames, you know, someone that either has a pull ability or you can put a pull ability on them because they're boring. You're 1,000 armor. If you can get close to 1,000 armor, then you're going to be rocking about 80% damage resistance. Oh god, no data for a second, and we're back. Okay, perfect. We're going to be doing pretty well. Plunder is your main ability. It's going to give you a ton of armor, 700 armor. You're going to be rocking 200 or 300 armor at base, so it's just way too classic. So Hydroid is what I consider to be the best tank right now. With this ability active at all times, you have 44 seconds of duration on this, so you want to hit every single enemy. You want to have as many enemies as possible. You're going to be pulling a ton of armor out. You're also going to be rocking, guess what? Double energy maximum and also double health. So you're going to be hitting, and also, good thing to mention, Tau Forged Amber, of course, for energy orbs. Classic. So you're getting over 1,000 health. You're getting over 300 energy just because this ability costs 75 energy. So if you ever end up in a sortie that has energy reduction, you're still going to be using your whole kit. You'll still have access to every ability you need. This is 50. 75 is the highest of the things. And this one is free, I guess. I don't know why, but I don't think so. Anyway, let's keep moving. I'm not really going to use Tidal Surge. It works pretty well to pull enemies, but obviously Coil Horizon is the main ability. He's also getting into this tier list. He's also going to be an active CC frame, as you see. He's going to have Coil Horizon. So he qualifies as a tank because of his 3, and an active CC because of his 4 that I have Helminth, and probably also a DPS because of his 1 and his 3. So honestly, he has 3 tags going for him, I guess you would call it. So let's get right into the build. We've talked about the build. We are rocking 280% range. That's max range. We're rocking 95% strength plus growing power, and also 179 on the duration. Okay, here we go. Okay. Adaptation is a classic. Double Umbra is all I have. I've got max range, so you're rocking Stretch, Augur Reach, Overextended, and Cunning Drift. I have Primed Continuity, and I have Augur Message. So you're hitting 179. I mean, it's a pretty classic build. You get growing power for more strength, because you want to get this guy pretty high. Max armor being 700 when it's at 95% is actually pretty good. So you're getting to about 120. So I mean, it's pretty classic. Of course, you've got Grace. You're going to put Arcane Grace on every build. You're going to need to have it maxed. And then of course you've got Arcane Avenger, which is going to give you 45% base crit chance basically permanently, because he's a tank, because he gets over 80% armor, or over 1,000 armor when he has this ability active. So Hydroid is my choice for the best tank in slot, or best in slot for tank. Okay, moving on. Chroma, number 2 on the list, is a funky one. I put him on the list because I wanted to do something weird, because he is a tank and only a tank. I guess he also qualifies as a buff frame, but you could probably put him in as a weapon king. So he might be a tank and a weapon king. So he might have 2 tags going for him. So you're only going to be using 2 red Archon shards so that you get duration, so that you're getting a clean 247 and 249 on the stats. It's really juicy. I love to see it. Let's get right into the build. Of course, his only build is to do 2 and 3, and you're going to be keeping Empower active for both of these abilities. Of course, getting rid of his 1 is too easy. Slotting in Empower is an easy choice. You get free ability strength, so you're actually getting a fuck ton of ability strength. Let's get into the build. Of course, you've got Growing Power. Of course, you're seeing he's a tank, so you've got Arcane Grace and Arcane Avenger. That's a classic. Let's get right into it. Prime Continuity. Double Umbra, you've got adaptation in every build. Of course, the fun slot is Rage. So I think the other thing that I didn't think I included is Unlimited Energy. So that would be another tag going for him, is that he has Unlimited Energy. So Unlimited Energy is more of a bonus tag. It's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more rare. But it is a pretty good trait. So the thing is, I don't know if this works in an Etricel, but he does have 300 energy, so he will be able to cast all of his abilities at all times. You're not really going to use his 4th ability. It gives you bonus credits, whatever. I don't care. Here we go. Narrow-minded plus... Oh, is that it? It's just narrow-minded. Oh, interesting. So narrow-minded and continuity is the only duration. You're actually taking away duration with Transient Fortitude, but you've got Augur Secrets and Power Drift plus Growing Power, so you're getting a pretty decent amount of strength. So you do need the red Archon shards for duration so that you actually have a decent number, and you end up with a 60-second duration on both of these. So having them be a minute each time is pretty good. I like that. It's pretty straightforward. So that's Chroma for you as number 2 best tank, but mostly because he's a weirdo, and I wanted to put him somewhere on this list. I love him, but he's a weirdo. Of course, number 3 on the list, it's kind of weird to put him as number 3, but, you know, this may not be the most accurate list at this point, okay? But Lavos, instant classic. He's a monster. He's a monster. 1,800 armor, 2,000 health. Obviously, 0 energy, and we're going to get into that in a second. You're going to notice I've gotten rid of his 2nd ability, and I've replaced it with... Sickening Pulse, which is going to be a very, very fun one. So we're going to get into that right now. He's got a decent set of stats, and of course, efficiency is going to be a very fun one to talk about, plus status duration. Let's go. Lavos, of course, is a base Warframe, so you're not going to put any Archon shards, but he doesn't need them because he's a cooldown frame. He doesn't have any energy. He has cooldowns only. Obviously, you're seeing he's a triple Umbra tank. He's hitting 1,800 armor. He probably doesn't need to be a triple Umbra tank, but you might as well do it. So that means he's getting Arcane Avenger and Arcane Grace. Of course, you've still got Growing Power. That's pretty much an instant slot in every Warframe. But his main abilities are pretty stressful. You're holding down 1 and 4 so that you get gas damage before you cast your 4. So your 4 is going to give them heat damage at base, and then you're going to add gas damage on top of that, and the gas damage is actually going to give you toxin damage, okay? And then once you have toxin damage active, then you're going to activate Sickening Pulse, and then that heat damage and that toxin damage are going to get duplicated over and over and over again. And then once you've done that combo, then you're going to do one. Actually, what you might end up doing is you might do hold down 1, hold down 4, cast 4, hold down 1, hold down 4, cast 3, and then this is actually going to reduce your cooldown. It's going to take away your cooldown on your 4. And then this is also going to give you electricity and more toxin procs. And then you cast Sickening Pulse. And then all the things reset. You can cast Ophidian Bite, which will give you free health. But you're not really going to need it. Drywall, I appreciate the chats, but we got a video to do. This has got some long-term implications. But anyway, you're rocking 170 on the range because you've got Stretch and Augur Reach. You got 210 on the strength, so you're getting, you want decent numbers. Like, it's got to be pretty classic. But as you can see, 40 meters. This is only in a ring, but the ring works pretty well. So keep that in mind. It's pretty classic. Let's just get right into it. I might end up just spamming 4, but, I like using I like using 1 and 4 to get Toxin and Fire, so let's just get right into it. Yeah, he's a classic. I want to kind of do all these builds one after another, and then we can kind of play some of them as we go along. But I might end up doing something else and only doing the builds for now. So for now, let's just get going. Tanks. Those are the 3 tanks. The best three tanks in Warframe. And then of course the tanks are the best class to look for in Warframe. So once again, a class is more like a tag that applies to multiple Warframes with multiple different tags. So Lavos would be a DPS frame and a tank frame. So those are the 2 things going for him. So anyway, moving on. The next one I'm putting on the list as the best class and the best tag to go for is passive CC frames. And of course, the best passive CC frame, I don't even need to see the list. Best passive CC frame is of course Zephyr Prime. Zephyr Prime. This list is a little out of order, but I want to put Zephyr at the top because Zephyr trivializes everything. Zephyr trivializes shooting. Zephyr trivializes what weapon you need to use. Literally one of the most game-breaking Warframes in the game. Like probably the most. As you can see, all you need is a Tau-forged Amber Archon Shard for energy. And what that's going to do is that, oh, look at this. I only have 225 on the energy, so I'm really playing it risky. But it's a very basic setup because you're going to have infinite energy, okay? Here's the build. Look at how weird this is. I've got Defy in the 3rd slot to give me 750 armor, which is going to give me about 800 armor, which is probably going to give me 75% damage reduction. It's not great, but it's good enough that I can probably rock Arcane Avenger because guess what, folks? You're still going to get shot as Zephyr. So what that means is that you're still going to have free crit chance at all times. Like, because Zephyr works in a very weird way where it's both passive and active CC at the same time. Like at the same moment, you are able to keep enemies locked down at all times and also pull them in whenever you want to. So being able to still have enemies shoot you means you can keep this one active. Obviously, you got a really nice duration on this. But anyway, let's get into the build. Energy Siphon, a different aura mod for the first time. Aura mod, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. We've got double Umbra. We've got, of course, max range, 280. So we're rocking Stretch, Augur Reach, Overextended, and Cunning Drift. We've got Adaptation, which is a fun choice. And, of course, Augur Message plus Primed Continuity. So you're seeing the Energy Siphon kind of necessary. Having the Tau-forged Archon Shard pretty necessary. But, yes, keeping your 4 active. I just choose to hold it down, keep them all in the same spot, don't make them move around. And then you're just going to be spamming Airburst at a 22-meter range. Like, it's pretty classic. It's not super stressful. It's really too easy. Like, you can pretty much keep all your abilities and Arcane Avenger active at all times because you're going to have, like, infinite energy. Like, super easy infinite energy. Way too easy infinite energy. So let's just keep on moving. Zephyr as the #1 passive CC should be an easy choice for everybody. But I think everyone should also know the easy second choice is going to be Vauban. And part of that is because I just don't like his cosplay as much. I don't like his fashion. Wild Wolf in chat. He's in the YouTube chat. Yes, Wild Wolf, this is a serious video, so we've got to keep it moving. I'm trying not to waste time. As you can see, Vauban is a crazy choice. You are rocking 1, 2, 3, 4 red Archon Shards for ability duration, plus a Tau-forged yellow Archon Shard. You've got 225 on the energy, and of course, this simple choice. Hold down 4. Keep Defy active if you're ever worried about dying. Let's get right into the build. Of course, look at this. Dude, oh my god, let's keep this moving. What I want to say, while I'm talking, Wild Wolf had his first banger. And I think Wild Wolf is doing it right. Because you are making videos that are longer than a minute. You should make them make them less than 3 minutes. Okay, Wolf? The cutoff. Here's the secret hack. I'm dropping some bombs on you for all you up and comers. You've got 2 breakpoints on YouTube. 3 breakpoints. 1 minute for shorts. That means you have to make it vertical. 3 minutes for a short video, which is a differently promoted normal YouTube video that gets normal YouTube watch duration. So Wild Wolf, if they watched your whole video, 1,000 views at 2 minutes of watch duration, if they watched the whole video, is 2,000 watch minutes. Divide that by 60. That is a fuck ton of watch minutes. That's really, really good. That's really good. So that's the main thing. So 1 minute, 3 minutes, and 8 minutes. It's not 10 minutes, it's 8 minutes. So you make a script that's 9 minutes long, you're chilling. That's all you need. So you can go over, but you don't really need to. So you can end up writing a little bit of a shorter script and still be fine. But anyway, hold down 4, 28 meters, 31 seconds. If you're ever scared, activate Defy. You've got 210 on the base armor plus 750. So you end up with about 950, 960. Pretty good. I like it. Not terrible. But yes, Vauban. Of course, passive CC is the second best tag to look for in a Warframe tag, class, whatever you want to call it. Vauban is a savage. With Defy active, you do get access to Arcane Avenger. Once again, with Bastille, it's not infinite range. It's only 28 meters. It's not crazy. You've got Growing Power. Let's get right into the build. Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify. That's going to be an instant slot on every build, plus Adaptation. This is a fun one. Overextended. Stretch, Augur Reach, Cunning Drift, of course, for 280 on the range. You've got Primed Continuity plus 4 Red Archon shards, and then look at this. Nira's Hatred for 980 on the health and 210 on the duration. Pretty savage. I love it. I think it's fun. And so that's why, of course, you have 4 Red Archon shards for duration. It's pretty classic. So, you know, before I get distracted, let's just keep it moving. That's Vauban. He is the second best passive CC frame, which is the second best tag or class to look for. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Titania is the third best passive CC frame. Titania is a crazy fun frame. Instant classic. Gotta love it. My favorite change for Titania, and before we get into it, my favorite change is that you can cast Roar while you're in Razorwing, which is insanely fun. But here we go. 1 blue Archon shard for ability or for energy maximum, so that I have over 300 energy, so that I can cast Roar and I can cast Lantern, whatever I need to. Of course, anytime I have Roar on a Warframe, I'm gonna have a Amber Archon shard with that's Tau Forge, because I want as much energy as possible. Even with 300 energy, you need as much as possible. So the big thing, you're gonna cast 3. You're gonna click an enemy. With only 175 on the range, you're going to pacify every enemy in 35 meters and pull them towards the target. They're just going to walk, okay? She's still a little squishy. You're going to want to keep your 2 active, which is going to give you 50% damage reduction. So you've got your 3 active at all times. You've got your 2 active at all times for 2 minutes. It's free 2 minutes. You don't have to build for it at all. It's also the same ability strength, so you're not building for that at all either. So the main thing is you're rocking 210 on the strength for Roar and for Razorwing, which we're gonna get into in a second. Okay, here we go. Ironclad Flight, fun choice. 40% damage reduction while airborne. It's a classic for being in Razorwing. It also gets rid of the vacuum, which is clutch. Transient Fortitude is the only thing along with the double Umbra, so you're getting 210 on the strength plus Growing Power. And then, of course, with the double Umbra, you have Adaptation. And then you're only rocking 75% stretch, or range, excuse me, so that's stretch and reach. And then, of course, Nira's Hatred, you're getting 1200 health from that. You're also getting a little bit bonus duration on top of Primed Continuity, so it's a little bit of a better choice than Augur Message. Of course, she is squishy, like I said, so you're going to rock Arcane Guardian and Arcane Grace. Anyway, let's keep it moving. I need some water. Let's talk about Dex Pixia. This gun is the gun. 17,000 damage. 2.8 multi-shot. You've got a fire rate of 9.3. This is just the classic. You've got your damage. You've got your double multi-shot. You've got Karnus Stinger. You've got Viral. You've got Augur Pact. And, of course, Primed Heated Charge. Look at these stats. 2,000 slash, 2,200 heat, 1,600 viral. With a status chance of 70%. So that means you're shooting 9.3 shots a second. I think it's a magazine of like 40 or something. 9.3 shots a second. 70% of them are dealing status, and it's most likely to be slash and heat. So you're just getting insane damage over time numbers. Oh my god, I'm not going to put it on this. It's not going to work on this. And then of course I'm not going to use this. I'm never going to use the melee weapon, but it has 75% crit chance with the double sacrificial. You're building a little bit for heat. You're getting 895. That's pretty good. Of course, you've got viral and organ shatter plus condition overload and fury. So it's pretty classic. But of course, it's just Razorwing. It's just Razorwing. Anyway, keep it moving. Those are all the passive CC frames. It is 8 o'clock. We're still cruising. Next up is active CC frames. Of course, we're just doing it as lazily as possible. You know the drill. The basic gist of an active CC frame is that they have some kind of active pull ability where they're going to pull enemies towards you, which gives you access to a lot of weapons that are like one-shot weapons that are really good at just, you click the bubble and everything dies. So you just pull enemies, you press the ability, shoot, press, shoot, press, over. It's just so easy. It's so brainless. We're going in live, the best active CC. Call it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Yareli. I'm calling it now. You've got an Amber Archon Shard for energy. I've put in Breach Surge in place of the first ability. And of course, it's just way too classic. Let's just do it, folks. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. Okay, here we go. You're rocking 265 on the range. Not max range, but pretty good. Because, of course, you're using Power Drift. So, here we go. Breach Surge is going to be a good choice as a passive, or as a little bit of CC to keep you alive. Of course, I am using Arcane Guardian and Grace. I'm a little bit squishy. Prime Flow is going in there. You're seeing that I don't actually have Arcane Energize, so I'm definitely squishy. I don't have a fuck ton of energy. It is only 75 to cast this bubble, but you're still going to get a bunch of energy orbs, so you're going to be pretty okay. I'm not super worried. 855 is a fuck ton of energy, and you really just need to cast this ability once. I'm not really going to use Aqua Blades. It's a lot of damage. Like 800 damage is a lot of damage, but you don't really need it. Like, you're pretty much just running around using your weapons like a madman, so just keep it cruising. Overextended, Augur Reach, Stretch, that's your range. Double Umbra plus Adaptation. Streamline is a fun choice plus Prime Flow. So in place of using Arcane Energize, I found that I really needed this to make the build work. So you're getting a fuck ton of energy, but you are going to have to be a little bit conservative about using Riptide. The thing is, Riptide is going to have a 39-meter vortex that pulls all enemies in. So all enemies in 40 meters are going to be in the bubble instantly. If you're a little bit scared, you cast your one. With this 47-meter radius, it's not going to give you a huge damage multiplier, but any multiplier is a good multiplier, and it's also going to stun them. So if you're ever worried, you're going to have Arcane Guardian. It's a pretty decent combo. It's not super crazy. Yareli. Yareli is the strongest active CC frame, which is the third strongest tag or class to look for in Warframe. Number 2 on the list. I'm calling it, folks. Don't make me do it. I'm going to do it, folks. You know I'm going to do it. Number 2 on the list. You could call him the 8th best Warframe, but not really. Number 2 on the list. Where is he? Inaros. Okay? Inaros. You guys are mad. You guys are mad. I know. I know there's going to be comments. I know there's going to be comments. What the are you serious? Let's get into it, folks. Now, the reason that Inaros is the second best active CC frame in the game is because I'm making a point. And the point is that Inaros is boring. And when a Warframe is boring, what do? I put on an Azure Archon Shard so that I have over 200 energy. And then I put Coil Horizon on with max range. And what you're going to notice? Fucking 40% strength. Oh my god. Cringe. Look at this build. Let's get right into it. Super easy. Let's do it. Corrosive Projection. He's a strange one. 6,000 health. He's a weird one. You're rocking 684 on the armor because you've got Umbral Fiber, Umbral Vitality, and Carnus Carapace, which is almost the only instance where this happens. Of course, he also has unlimited energy. Gauss Prime will be coming up soon. I don't know where I'm going to put Gauss, but I don't know where I'm going to put the Weapon Kings, but they're coming up soon. I will talk about Gauss Prime. I don't have a full Gauss build, but I will be going over Gauss soon. Anyway, folks, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? The basic gist of it right now is that Inaros is boring, so you're going to put max range. You don't even need strength, so you're going to get a 30-meter coil horizon, which is fucking criminal. His third ability is kind of crazy, but it doesn't really work that well. It's a smaller duration, but it's like a total lockdown. Like, it completely locks down every enemy in 20 meters. So if you're ever in a panic, press 3 for a couple seconds. It costs 75 energy, which fucking sucks, but you just need to press 2 and then maybe press 1. I think it does put enemies in a stunned state so you can get that finisher damage, but I'm not sure. And then, of course, Scarab Swarm is going to give you double armor, so you're going from 684 to like 12 something, so it's pretty decent. But of course, Overextended, Stretch, Augur Reach, and Cunning Drift are going to give you max range. You've got the Umbral Fiber plus Vitality plus Carnus Carapace, and then you're adding Adaptation to that, and then you're adding Rage to that, so you're getting infinite energy. And you're going to find that infinite energy is going to be the secret bonus tag that I'm going to talk about less frequently, but it's going to come up a lot. Like, as I do more of these tier lists, so what this video is this is a hub tier list for you guys to be like, okay, this is how he ranks these specific tags. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to find an active CC tank, because there are about 5 or 6 active CC tanks which have 2 of the top 3 tags in the game on their person. Like, they qualify for 2 of those tags or 2 of those classes. And what that means is that you are going to get, like, you're going to have a way easier time with the game, because you're going to be able to simplify a lot of the gameplay loop. So before I get too distracted, Corrosive Projection is a fun choice, but yeah, we pretty much talked about everything. This one is going to reduce armor. So the main thing is that he's a fun choice if you want to use a dog, like a pet, because you're going to get a fuck ton of health. They're never going to die because they're going to have bonus armor, because I think this just doubles your armor, and that also applies to your pet. So it's pretty good. Inaros is a classic, but he is boring, and that's why he's an active CC frame. And of course, he is the second best active CC, which is, in and of itself, active CC is the third best tag or class to look for in Warframe. I want to kind of do it with all of these just so you guys kind of can skip around and watch the videos and be like, oh, this is what he thinks of Inaros. Because I'm not going to put like number 1 next to Inaros. I'm just going to put, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, where is this fellow? Where is the good sir? Number 3 on the list, Nidus. Yes, Nidus. He's a classic. As you can see, no Archon shards. No abilities have changed. He is one of the few Warframes that has a pure kit. Just a beautiful pure kit. He is a classic. He is a triple Umbra tank. True triple Umbra tank. Of course, as a tank, he's got Arcane Avenger and Arcane Grace. I didn't mention it with Inaros, but I hope you can see that. You've got Growing Power in there. And then, of course, you've got only 75% range, Stretch, and Augur Reach. And you are rocking 21 meters on Larva, which is really, really good. And it's actually a lot better on Larva because it's a way better pull. The best ability, the most important ability, is Insatiable on his 4. And then, of course, as a triple Umbra, with every build, you're going to rock Adaptation. And then, of course, with Hunter Adrenaline, he gets the coveted Infinite Energy token. So that's a bonus little tag that he gets. Of course, Hunter Adrenaline, better version of Rage, only by 5%. And then, of course, Power Drift, getting you over 200% strength, plus Growing Power, getting you to like 230. So the basic gist of his abilities. Press 2. Press 1 about 5 or 6 times. Get enough of your stacks, which is like the main gameplay loop. Stack, you know, you're going to refund your energy. It's too easy. Refund the energy. Cast your 4, and then while you're standing on your 4, Insatiable is going to give you guaranteed 1 extra token, and it's going to be a little bit higher. So you're going to get a fuck ton of stacks. You're going to get to max stacks. If you want to, you can link to an enemy, but you don't really need to, because guess what? You have 1800 health and 1400 armor. So you're not really going to die. So it's really fun to run around with Arcane Avenger. You're just a fucking monster. You're absurd. It's way too good. I love it. Nidus is a classic. Third best active CC frame, which is the third best tag to look for. Now we get into some interesting stuff. Now is where I think I'm going to talk about DPS frames. And the DPS frames I've chosen a little bit carefully, and the best DPS frames. So DPS frames I will call the fourth best class in the game. And a DPS frame is basically super straightforward, okay? It's something that focuses more on abilities. So the abilities themselves have a truly criminal ability to just delete everything on the map. Like true map wipe capabilities. And of course, Saryn is the best DPS frame in the game. She is rocking a Amber Archon Shard for energy, and of course, an Azure Archon Shard for armor, which is a fun choice, so that when you get into it, she also qualifies as a tank. So she is a DPS frame first, and then also a tank. So she's got two tags going for her. Triple Umber tank with Arcane Avenger, giving you bonus crit chance. You've got exactly 1000 armor with that Archon Shard, so that's the secret strat for Saryn. That's the secret strat. You're of course rocking adaptation as always. I only have 45% range, so the spread radius on this guy is only 23 meters, but that's pretty good. It's kind of going to be enough to spread through a whole arena, which is all you really need. You've got only continuity for duration. You're taking some of that away for bonus strength with transient fortitude, and then of course you've got augur secrets, power drift, and growing power. So you're getting to like about 280 or 290 on the power strength, which is pretty good. And because of that, you're going to be maxing out on roar, and you're going to be maxing out on toxic lash, which is just way too criminal. So it's an instant classic. Of course, the build is really just spam spores, shoot enemies, cast miasma, spread everything, delete everything on the map, redo over and over and over and over again. Way too easy. Keep it moving. So yeah, the basic gist is like, what you're really talking about is like, you're going to be spamming your abilities all the time. It's going to be way too crazy. You're going to be doing like a ton of work, like just constantly casting abilities. But Saryn is really fun. Saryn is really fun to use with like an actually super OP weapon and just kind of clear everything in existence. But yeah, Saryn's a classic. She is the best DPS frame, which is the fourth best tag to look for in a Warframe. Now, here we go. Some normal Warframes. Let's talk about Xaku. Xaku is a classic. You've got the Archon Shard for energy. And then, of course, you've got Pillage in place of the 3, which is an actual armor strip, but you don't have that much strength. So here we go. 280 on the range. So you've got Stretch, Augur Reach, and Overextended and Cunning Drift. So you're getting pretty decent numbers. I will say it's going to be nice to have Molt Vigor. So you're not really going to be able to keep it active with Pillage, but you will be able to keep it active with your 2 and your 1. And the reason that you want Molt Vigor is because your fourth ability is going to give you infinite duration as long as you keep this ability active. So what that means is you're going to cast your bubble. If you're going into the Lua defense, like the conjunction survival, then you're going to be in the black and white zone, and then you're going to cast Molt Vigor so that you have the bubble, the growing power, and then you cast Grasp of Loke, and then do the same setup for Zada's Whisper, and you're going to get a really high damage weapon. But the big thing is you're going to get 16 guns on this, the maximum guns. That's as many as you can pull. You're going to get really decent strength numbers, so you're actually going to pull like about 35 or 40% armor from these guys. So you're going to be spamming this ability. It has a 3-second duration, so you can spam it a lot for 50 energy per cast. You still have Augur Secrets. You still got double Umbra plus adaptation, so it's pretty good. It's pretty classic. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Xaku is really fun. You really just run around and cast Pillage constantly. It's going to give you a fuck ton of shields, so as long as you're using your melee weapon, your cat or whatever is going to be alive, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. Xaku as the second strongest DPS frame, which I would call the fourth strongest tag or class to look for. Here we go. Dagath. Dagath is the third strongest of the DPS frames, which is the 4th strongest. Here we go. What you get into with Dagath is only having an Archon Shard, but of course, the classic setup that you haven't seen before with the DPS frame is the Breach Surge DPS combo. Let's get into it. We've got 192 on the strength, and then we've got dead even duration, 179, and range, 175. Wolf, I'm not live on TikTok because the fucking encoder didn't work. The encoder exploded. Repeat, the encoder exploded. Anyway, before I get distracted, 2 Umbra mods, plus adaptation, and then of course you're rocking 75 with stretch and augur reach, and then you've got augur message and augur secret, so you're getting a fuck ton of free shields. So that's kind of cool. Of course, she is kind of squishy, so you're rocking arcane grace and arcane guardian, and then you're getting a little bit extra strength from power drift. So here we go. Growing power is fun, but here, let's talk about the abilities. Grave Spirit is really, really good. You're going to get a bunch of free critical damage and a bunch of doom critical damage, which I never knew existed, which is really fucked up. That's insane. Basically what happens is you become invulnerable if you die, and then there's a 25-second cooldown where you won't be invulnerable, and then you can cast the ability again. So it's really, really easy. But the main ability is this combo. Press 2 to activate the Doom ability. The Doom ability is going to give you bonus damage for your damage. For every damage you damage, it's going to give you bonus damage. And then when you have this active, you'll get bonus critical damage. So the damage on the damage is going to be multiplied on top of the damage. And then you're going to keep that damage active with a little bit of word scythes. So the scythes are going to spread that damage to as many enemies as there are as in the radius. 26 meters is pretty good, but you can spam this like crazy. You can spam the fuck out of this. And then once that damage is active, you're going to amplify the damage of the damage by using Breach Surge, which is really what you need. Like, it's really the actual gameplay loop that you're looking for. It's going to triple everything. It's going to be so absurd. You're going to crash your computer. I know it. That's the whole goal. But it's so much fun. Obviously, you got Prime Continuity and Augur Message, so you're getting a really long duration on all these damage effects, so it's kind of fun. Like, it's really easy to, like, literally map wipe entire arenas like it's nothing and just be like, yep, whatever, too easy. Too easy. Anyway, that's it. That's Dagath. Dagath is the 3rd strongest DPS frame, which is the 4th strongest tag to look for. Okay, there's a couple that I'm not even going to put on the list. I'm not going to put Invisibility on the list. We're getting down to the wire. It's just, looks like all we have to talk about is 3 more. So let's talk about the 5th strongest tag to look for, which is in fact buff and support frames. So a buff frame or a support frame is a frame that has at least 2 or 3 buffs that they can apply to teammates. Okay, so of course, we've got to talk about her. The best buff frame, which is the 5th best tag to look for. Wisp Prime is the best buff frame by far. Your reservoirs are going to give you 3 buffs. I'm going to apply Roar to everybody, which is over 100% without growing power. And of course, we've got 1, 2, 3 special and 4 special strength shards. So we are getting a fuck ton of strength. 383% strength with 128% duration. Let's get into it. Replace your 2 with Roar. That's easy. And then, of course, all you have active is Arcane Guardian and Arcane Avenger, which makes her a buff frame and a tank frame, which is just triple. It's just so classic. So, of course, you've got Roar active, you've got Arcane Avenger, and then, of course, her motes are going to give you 76% speed, 114% fire rate, and over 1,000 health. And that's the main thing. You want over 100 health, which means you need at least like 350 strength, which is just absurd. But yes, Fused Reservoir is absolutely necessary. We've got Double Umbra adaptation, Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude. Streamline is something I have to use with Blind Rage. Augur Secrets, and then of course Growing Power. So, you know, we're going as high of the strength as we can, but the Archon Shards are really what's doing it for us. They are just maxing it out like crazy. And so this build really just ends up being keep your motes active, find a good place for all your teammates to be able to see them. Keep your Roar active. You want to kind of group up your teammates. That's the whole point of a buff/support frame is, you know, snagging your teammates, getting them going. Like, the whole point is you hit them with the buff, and then you're like, let's do this. All right. It's like the absolute anime moment. Like, you're down bad. All 4 interception targets are being capped by the enemy. And all the Wisp has to do is fucking roll up. We got three of our teammates at once. Boom, you hit that roar. And what does Wild Wolf drop in the chat at the perfect moment? He drops the fucking Moai skull, the Giga Chad emoji. Absolutely Giga Chad moment. Yeah. It just anime moment, you know, it's the fucking Straw Hats begin counterattack. That's the theme that plays. You know, if any One Piece fans, you guys know it. Anyway, it's a classic. Then you win the gameplay. Then you win the mission. That's how it works, folks. So before I get distracted, that is Wisp. A classic triple buff. You're getting double buff from Vitality and Haste. You're getting Roar as the third one. And then, of course, quadruple technically from Arcane Avenger. But only 3 buffs are applied to your whole team. So that's a classic choice. Obviously, next on the list, I'm going to put at number 2, we are talking about the man himself, recently anointed as a Prime. You guys know him. You guys love him. Grendel Prime. Look at him. Look at that dude. Of course, we've got a blue Archon Shard for energy maximum. And then, of course, we've got a yellow Archon Shard for energy, which isn't really necessary, but it is necessary when Nourish isn't active. So he is very straightforward. Keep enemies in your belly with his 1. That's going to give you over 1,000 armor easily, even if you only have 3 enemies. I think it'll be close with 3 enemies. You've got Arcane Avenger. You've got Arcane Grace because he's a tank, so he's going to give you a ton of buffs. Keep enemies in your belly. Cast Nourish. You're going to get 3.49 times energy. And then also a fuck ton of viral. It's going to be absurd. It's going to be criminal. It's way too easy. Pulverize is going to give you maximum armor strip. Too easy. You do need enemies in your belly to do that, I think. And then, of course, Roar with 249% strength isn't crazy, but it's going to get you decent numbers when you have Growing Power active. Let's talk about the mods. We've got Double Umbra plus Adaptation. That's going to get us to 3,400 health when we're using Nira's Hatred. We're going to try and max out a little bit on duration, but we also have Transient Fortitude. So we've got Prime Continuity, Augur Message, Nira's Hatred for duration. We've got Double Umbra plus Transient Fortitude, Augur Secrets, and Power Drift, which is going to give you strength. And then, of course, you've got Growing Power. So you've got 2 buffs coming from Nourish. You've got the Viral buff and the Energy buff. And then you've also got the Roar buff, which makes him a triple buff plus Arcane Avenger. So he's in the running. Also, he has Armor Strip, which I didn't even mention. I don't even have Armor Strip on the list. That's one that I completely forgot about. But, you know, Armor Strip is a little bit of a bonus. I find that you don't really need Armor Strip because I'm not doing endgame content. Armor Strip is very useful when you're doing Disruption, but that's a whole different ballgame. Anyway, Grendel with his Pulverize does get Armor Strip, so that's another bonus category that I don't even really care about that much, but it's there. Anyway, number 3 on the list for buff and support, we are talking about Oberon. Yes, Oberon is a classic. He's a stunner. He looks good. We've got double shards for strength and more double shards for strength. Okay, that's classic. Okay, let's get into it. Big thing. He is the only healer frame that I'm going to put on there. Wisp is technically also a healer, but yeah, classic. You're getting about 100% health per second from this. Of course, you're rocking a fuck ton of red Archon shards because triple Umbra tank plus Prime Flow plus Stretch plus Rage. He doesn't have any strength mods. He has Power Drift and that's it. You do have Growing Power, which is pretty nice, but you do need a little bit of range for his Carpet. You're getting 20 meters with a angle of 240, so it's going to go a little bit around you, which is pretty good. It's more than 180, which is kind of all you need because it means that you can spam it pretty easily. It's going to be nice because you have about close to 80% on the Roar buff, and of course, you cast 3. You get the health per second. I think it sticks pretty easily. It sticks almost forever, like any distance. And then when you cast Hallowed Ground and they stand on it, then you get 400 armor. So with the 600 armor, he now has 1,000 armor, which makes him a tank. And then, of course, he has unlimited energy. So he has health and armor as 2 buffs, technically, plus Roar makes it triple buff, plus being a tank. That's another tag. Plus Rage, which is infinite energy. So he's got 5 tags, or technically 3 tags going for him, because he's got buff, tank, and infinite energy. So that's the tags you're going for. He's got a little bit of CC and a little bit of armor strip. So technically he would have 4 tags going for, because look at that. 100% armor strip as long as enemies are standing on the carpet and hit by the Reckoning. So the radius on this is 21 meters. So it's kind of a more localized ability, but it's pretty good, pretty savage. Okay. Instant classic. Okay, let's keep it moving. That's all of them for the buffs. Now the last 2 we have to talk about are the Weapon Kings and the Exalted weapons, or the Exalted Warframes. We're going to keep this stream a little bit shorter. I'm not going to talk about the bonus ones. I'm not going to talk about shields, because that's not really a tag that I'm looking for. Okay, folks? So I'm thinking that what we're going to do is we're going to put Exalted Warframes next up. So buffs were number 5. Number 6 on the list is Exalted weapons, or Exalted Warframes. And I would say the king of the Exalteds, the king of the kings, honestly, is Baruuk Prime. Baruuk is insane. We've replaced his first ability, which is whatever prevents damage, which you don't really need. It makes bullets go through you. You replace it with Empower. You've got double blue for health, and you've got double blue for strength, and then of course you've got a yellow for ability or energy orbs. Okay, let's do it. Keep Empower active when you cast this ability and this ability. With Empower, you're going to get like 25 charges. Too easy. You don't need duration. You want negative duration because you want to spam lull. Lull only needs 36 meters. It's not really something you need a huge radius, because you don't want to sleep forever. You don't want them to sleep forever. That's why you use negative duration. So what you're doing is you're maxing out strength, and you're using Empower with Desolate Hands and Serene Storm. So that's the main gist of it. What you're really going to talk about is you've got double Umbra, you've got Transient Fortitude, Augur Secrets, and Power Drift, plus Streamline, which is a very interesting choice, and Adaptation. And of course, the mod that you absolutely need permanently is Reactive Storm. It's the only thing that you need. It will delete everything. You need it. It's permanent. You need it. Growing Power, instant slot, instant classic. You want as much strength as you can get. Of course, he does qualify as a tank, because this thing gives him 90% damage reduction, and this gives him another 40% damage reduction, plus 670% status chance. It's really criminal. So you're getting free crit chance at all times with all weapons. You've got 45% range on stretch, so you're getting decent lull range. This is going to... So the basic gist of the abilities is that you're spamming lull and keeping this active, and that's going to build up this gauge for Serene Storm so that you can just lay it down. Like, lay it down hard. You're going to lay down the law, and that's why you get into this, which is just the most criminal build. You're rocking Sacrificial Pressure, Sacrificial Steel. You're hitting 180% crit chance, which becomes 300% crit chance when you have Arcane Avenger. You're rocking Gladiator Might and Organ Shatter. The only element that you really need is Volcanic Edge. So you're just using Prime Fury and Condition Overload and Quickening in the last slot. So you're getting a fuck ton of crit chance. You're getting a fuck ton of status. You're rocking 950 on the heat, 1500 on the impact. So it's pretty decent numbers. But that's pretty much it. You're spamming like crazy. You're spamming like a madman. It's insane. So that is Baruuk. That is the best Exalted Warframe. Now, the one that I've been waiting to talk about is, of course, Sevagoth with his new skin, looking fire. Of course, he's very interesting because he actually has an Exalted Warframe, not just an Exalted weapon. So let's talk about it. Sevagoth is only going to have a yellow Archon Shard for energy, and then he's going to have Breach Surge as his third ability replaced, which is kind of a hot take because most people do like his third ability Gloom, which slows enemies, but I don't really give a fuck about slowing enemies. I want to kill them. So the basic gist, you've got double Umbra adaptation, but of course the secret that I'm using is Shadow Haze. Reap Augment, increase crit chance by 50% on enemies inflicted with Death Harvest. So bonus crit chance on all enemies affected by your one, which we will get into. A new shadow emerges from those enemies when they die. Limit of 3 shadows. So you're getting infinite shadows permanently. And so the basic gist of the build is you're actually just going to be spamming Reap and Sow. So Sow is going to give you that pretty insane damage per second. And then Reap is going to be giving you not only bonus crit chance, but bonus damage vulnerability. 100% bonus damage vulnerability, which means that you are going to be wiping the slate. Like, I'm talking map wipe levels. And you're going to be spamming Breach Surge as well, so it's absurd. But you're only going to be doing this for as long as you fill this gauge. And then what happens is, you know, of course, you want to survive. So what you're going to need is you're going to need decent range. You've got stretch and reach. You've got a ton of strength, transient fortitude, power drift, plus the double umbra. And then, of course, a decent amount of duration. You just want to be in the positive because of transient fortitude. And then, of course, steel charge is going to be fun to get into, but you are squishy. So you will need Arcane Guardian and Arcane Grace. So let's talk about the actual big boy. And we're talking big boy. Okay, here we go. Look at this. This is the Shadow. The Shadow is a monster. The Shadow is going to be using Hunter Adrenaline. He only has 850 health. So you're going to be using Arcane Guardian because you're just going to be running into the fray. You're going to get the double steel charge buff. So you're getting a fuck ton of melee damage. You've got double Umbras plus adaptation. And then all the other mods are just range and damage, or range and strength. So you got stretch, augur reach, augur secrets, and power drift. So you're rocking, 97% damage vulnerability. And of course, a 35 meter pull. So the basic gist. If you're ever going to die, hit consume to restore yourself. That's the gist. Pull enemies in, hit them with Death's Harvest, and then kill them with the standout weapons of any year. And the only one that I've put Tennokai on, and I hope to God works, is the Shadow's Claws. You're rocking 120% crit chance just with Sacrificial. You're rocking Primed Reach. You're rocking what am I talking about? Viral, of course, Condition Overload, of course, Prime Fury. It's a little slow. You've got Organ Shatter, you have to have that, and of course, Pressure Point. So you get 700 slash and 1600 viral. So you're getting a lot of viral procs, but every time you get a slash proc, it's pretty good. I want to look at these guys. There's a slash proc. Yeah, so there's a slash proc on the standing combo, and that's it. That's pretty much it. So doing the standing combo is okay, but really it does a fuck ton of damage, so it's pretty classic. That's Sevagoth. The second best exalted weapon, which is the 6th best class. Okay, we're almost done here, folks. Mesa. We're talking about Mesa, which is the 3rd best exalted frame, which is, the 6th best class. Okay, let's get into it. Here we go. Mesa is rocking double strength Archon shards and double duration Archon shards. So here we go. I've replaced her 1, which is garbage, with Roar, and that's the basic gist of the build. Okay, here we go. Double Umbra plus adaptation. You've got primed continuity. You've got prime flow plus energize, which is one of the few times that you've seen with a DPS frame or even with an exalted frame that I've actually used primed flow and arcane energize. Mesa's Waltz is a must. You have to have this. Neera's Hatred is a fun choice. Augur Secrets is a must. So you are rocking Prime Continuity and Neera's Hatred for Transient Fortitude plus the Archon Shard. So you're getting 163 on the duration, which is pretty good. Of course, Growing Power is a must. Let's get into the style. Keep these abilities active. These are 3 duration-based abilities that all have different durations. 40 seconds, 48 seconds, and 48 seconds. So these 2 are easy. This one is a goofy boy. Keep those active, and then if you ever are afraid, if you ever want to map wipe, press 4 and you map wipe. Okay, you've got Arcane Grace to keep you alive. You are a walking tank. Or you are a walking turret. You can kill anything and everything in existence. Of course, you are using these sexy ass Tau guns that look fucking awesome. And the build. 70. Oh my god. Yes, look at this. There's the damage. There's the multi-shot. You've got Creeping Bullseye to slow you down to 20 bullets a second. 20 bullets a second. Target Cracker is giving you 6.3 on the critical multiplier. Look at these numbers. 590 on the heat, 420 on the viral. You're getting a fuck ton of heat damage. That is insane numbers. And that is why Mesa is insanely strong, but is also still only the 3rd best exalted frame, because there are a fuck ton of crazy strong exalted frames. And we're going to talk about them all in a separate video. Okay. The final and probably the lowest tier class or tag that I look for is the Weapon Kings. And we've got 3 choices. And the first time that I'm going to be showing off the homie Gauss. And the homie Gauss is the one that we're going to show off first. So if you stuck around till the end, here is Gauss. He is incomplete, but I can show him off. Of course, he came out today. I haven't leveled him up at all. I haven't gotten any mastery from him. Look at this. 1 yellow Archon shard. That's it for energy. You've got energized munition in the 3rd slot. You've got kinetic plating, which I'm going to test. I think can give you infinite energy. But of course, it's a classic build. You just need vitality. I've been thinking about using primed redirection, but I don't think so. But it's very simple. It's one idea. Max duration. That's it. You max it out. Oh, it's Nearest Hatred. That's what I put in that slot. You max out duration, and that's it. So this is the build. Narrow-minded is a must. Constitution is a must. Augur Message is a must. And then Nearest Hatred goes in this slot. So then the last mods are, of course, Prime Continuity, which is also a must. And then you've got Vitality and Adaptation to keep you alive. Because, of course, when you talk about this, I have Arcane Energized. I might be thinking about using Arcane Avenger if I'm crazy. I might actually just try it right now and see how well it works. Because I feel like all enemies have... enough enemies have physical damage that they could give me infinite energy conversion 2%, but there's a fuck ton of damage coming from these enemies. Anyway, look at this classic setup. You get free sprint boost and free rush, so you're rocking 2.18 sprint speed. It's fucking criminal. It's so good. Gauss is really, really fun. You're going to max out on duration because all of his 4 abilities scale off of duration. So that means you're going to get insane numbers on this guy. You're going to be moving insanely fast on this guy because actually the radius and the explosion radius are meaningless. They don't do anything. And the range doesn't change. So whatever. You're going insanely fast. The drain is going to be really good. So you're going to sprint like crazy. You're going to move like a madman. You never have to change this build. You can put Molt in this slot if you're really a fucking savage, but you don't really need to because Energized Munitions is just way too good. Molt is probably the best choice if you're really going... and at the end, I'm faster. Yeah. Yeah, you would put Molt in this slot. Like, what I can do literally is link this config. Dude, folks, you better be watching Wolf's videos because I know they're going to blow up. I know Wolf. If you can crack the code, here's what I'll say. You might not figure it out now, but if you do figure it out, I will tell you if a video looks really, really good. And I'll be like, hey, whatever you did, keep doing this. And then from there, that's what I want to see. I want to see your quality step up because I want to see them in 1080p because they look really good. And if it's a higher bit rate, like get OBS. OBS is free, bitch. What do you record it on? If it's on PC, get OBS. Record that shit on OBS. I'll send you my stats. But yeah, set it up on OBS. I want to see some high quality shit. And then convert it to TikTok the other way. So take the landscape video and plug it into TikTok. And then do the thing where you have the blurry video scaled up behind the actual footage. And then you can have the landscape footage, but then the blurry footage will be behind it to back it up. So it's classic. Anyway, Nearest Hatred in this slot. You just do max duration and that's it. Keep your 4th ability active. Keep your 2nd active. You're going to need to spam your 1st ability forever to build up your 4th. But as long as you have max duration, Energized Munition is going to make it fun as fuck. This is going to give you free ammo efficiency. So all your weapons are going to be insanely fun. So that's pretty much the classic build. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Let's just keep on moving. I'm going to back out of here. That's Gauss. And I just got more faster. Yes, dude. That's what I want to hear from Wolf. See, still at the end, he's still here. Next up on the list is Mirage. Mirage is a classic. Mirage is a classic because of Hall of Mirrors. Of course, I'm rocking double energy maximum and double health with the Tau Forge because she is very, very squishy. I'm an asshole. I replaced her 3rd ability with Roar because I'm a fucking dick. Let's get right into it. Archon Stretch and Archon Continuity are the weirdest choices because of her 2nd ability. You've got double Umbra Adaptation. You've got Explosive Légèrement. You've got Transient Fortitude and Augur Secrets and Power Drift. And of course, the Continuity and Stretch giving you 45% range, 28% duration, 247 on the Strength, and of course, the numbers. Let's get into it. You're going to get close to 80% on Roar, but of course, Hall of Mirrors is going to be way too savage. The damage is going to be really, really good. But of course, you get 4 doppelgangers, and I think only 3 of them shoot, or 2 of them shoot. So you get doubled everything. Doubled everything is way too easy. Sleight of Hand, you cast this once, and then you're going to get a bunch of procs of Archon Continuity and Archon Stretch. This is going to apply Corrosive, which is going to give you Armor Strip, and this is going to give you free energy. So you're going to get a fuck ton of free energy. You're going to use Roar because you're going to try and buff your squad a little bit. And then Prism is going to delete everything. Prism does a fuck ton of damage. You are squishy, so you do need Arcane Grace and Arcane Guardian. But yeah, you've got a ton of strength, and that's about it. It's a classic build. Let's keep it moving. The last frame of the night, the very last, the 7th strongest tag that you're going to look for, and the 3rd strongest. So we'll do the math. You guys will see in the edit at the very end when I add all the time codes what the timing is. Nova Prime as a Weapon King. The bottom of the list, but still a very classic Warframe. Nova Prime has 2 red Archon shards for duration, so that she gets to 300% duration. Let's get into it. Her second ability is useless. Not super useless, but I've replaced it with Firewalker, which is going to have 89 seconds on the duration, which is fucking criminal, and you can recast this as much as you want. But the main thing is that with the 89-second duration, you get a radius of 94 meters with this guy. You're going to keep Null Star active at all times, and then the secret is that you have Molecular Fission. So let's talk about it. Speed Drift, Sprint Speed, Casting Speed. She doesn't really have a use for any other of the Drift mods, so I've used this. Corrosive Projection is an easy choice on these weird ones. Of course, you've got Double Umbra, and you've got Adaptation. You've got Prime Flow and Arcane Energize, because of course she's weird. And then you are rocking Prime Continuity, Narrow Minded, and Augur Message to get you to 298 when you have that bonus effect in there. Now, Molecular Fission is a must, so you're going to keep your 4 active, and this is going to give you free charges on your 1. So this is going to keep your 1 at maximum charges at all times. And yeah, that's the Slova build. And then the Speedva build, which is very fun. Very similar, except you're going to use Overextended in place of... in place of what? Interesting. Oh, you take out... Oh, I see. So you take out Umbral Intensify and you place it with Overextended. Because Umbral Intensify is going to get you to 75% slow, while Overextended is going to get you to -30. So that's the basic secret with Slova. So there you go, folks. That's pretty much it. Once again, I apologize to TikTok. They will never see this, but I apologize to them. They will never know what's going on. But yes, this was a whole video just about builds, so I'm glad you guys stuck around for it. Shout out Wolf for being here through the whole thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm closing it out, folks. I'm hungry as fuck. I'm ready to eat. I'm good to go. Of course, I appreciate it if you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We've got a lot in store over the next couple months. What I'm planning is a bunch of best of videos. My idea is that every January, after all the updates, we're going to do a re-review and go back through and talk about some of the new weapons and see what's changed. And we're going to talk about some of my favorite Warframes. And the videos are going to be very similar, but you're still going to see some of the similar stuff. So for now, it's going to be really good. So yeah, I'm excited. Oh, dude, Wild Wolf is 19. Shout out Wild Wolf. Happy birthday, Wild Wolf. That's all I got for you, folks. Take care. I'm out of here. Bye-bye. You guys